And so I think that's just as entrepreneurs, we need to have that service, that giving heart to say where you can step in and you can help someone else in their dream, their vision, their purpose. And then a lot of times it really connects together. The more that you give, the more you see that, hey, really, this is another part of who you are as a business person. So that really inspired me is the component of entrepreneurship. There should be a space that you give back. And a lot of times you find your passion, you find other areas in your life that mean things through your giving components.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with the Lead Edge Consulting Group. And I'd also like to welcome back to my previous guests to discuss their collaboration with their two companies. We have Ariana Del Rey, founder of Write My LifeBook. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And we also have Tanisha Taylor. She's the founder of Tanisha Taylor Coaching. I was really excited to have both of you back because I really enjoyed our previous podcasts, and I enjoy what you're doing with the community. So um, to get everybody started, especially for individuals who maybe didn't tune into those episodes, can we tell the audience a little bit about your newfound partnership and what you're currently accomplishing in the community?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe, for having myself back on and then this collaboration of the two of us. So I just truly believe if you watched the episode before, one of my nuggets was the networking piece and how building relationships are key in entrepreneurship because together you can do more, you can do more together. And so in this particular relationship and partnership through the Twinsburg community, we met at a virtual networking. So networking in person, virtual, it both works, it's a point of contact, a point of connection. And it just grew into our ideals and different things that we were looking to do and to accomplish were very what would you say they crossed the same pathways. It
Yeah.
was one, I was the beginning of a part where, I just had a vision. I believe that in my prayer points and my direction that it was like I needed to do more in the community when it was around the area of our senior citizen population and our young people connecting the dots. And I didn't really have that middle part because, we think of ideals and we think of different things, and we may not have all the puzzle pieces, but there are other puzzle pieces that are in other areas that we say, oh, that is exactly what I need to complete the full picture. And that's really how this started. It was, an ideal that I had, a vision of how something could work in our community here in Twinsburg. And through a networking, virtual and in person, the collaboration between the two of us just began and we just connected the dots, plugged in other people, and we're here today starting something wonderful and amazing.
Yeah. When I think back on our individual podcasts that we did, I can see how there is a kind of a mutual relationship between what you two do for the community. So I'm really glad to be able to spend another podcast and talk about it. So let's dig in a little bit. I'm just going to go back and forth with questions. So Ariana, what led you to create a program that really connects the youth and seniors in a much more meaningful way, as you've done with Write My Life book?
Sure. So Write My Life Book has a program. So Write My Life Book overall is a company that helps document life stories, and we do it a little differently than other companies do. We do it without requiring the person who's telling the life story really to do their own writing. So it takes sort of the burden or pressure of writing off of it, so they're answering questions, and then we do all the writing for them. So this is done through a virtual platform, and this platform was actually originally developed with this particular program in mind. So the program that we're talking about today, I call the Youth Plus Senior Connections program. And that program was put together to do just that, to connect the older adults with the youth. And this came back from 15 years that I spent in the classroom as a teacher. So I just recognized that, we had senior citizens right in our community that were not being engaged, especially with the school system. And I had classroom of students that had the opportunity to learn so much from these seniors. And so really it was birthed out of the idea of finding a way to bring these two groups together in a way that benefited both groups and really met some of the educational standards that I needed to teach. So from that, this platform was born. And so now I've since left my own classroom, and now I'm working in classrooms all over using this programming. So that was the beginning, or where the idea came from, and then what has brought then Tanisha and I together in Twinsburg.
I'm sure I'm repeating myself, but I love the fact that you're bringing two completely opposite generations together to work on things together. And I think it's just a great way for the younger people in our community, the high school kids, to learn from from all of our parents and grandparents out there. So I love it. Tanisha, what motivated you as a business owner to support this initiative?
So the first thing, I know that people have supported me. I know people have heard different ideals that I had and said, you know what, we can sponsor, you, and we can sponsor your program. And so that morning when we were thinking of different, pathways, like, okay, well, maybe put it in this marketing space to see if you get some sponsors, maybe do this. And that morning, I'm like, why am I doing all this extra where I can reach out to myself as a business owner? I can reach out to my family and say, let's come together. Most of my family, a large population of them, live here in Twinsburg. I can support the community that I live in, the school systems that my children graduated from, and bring something wonderful to another person that is needing assistance in their journey. And so I think that's just, as entrepreneurs, we need to have that service, that giving heart to say where you can step in and you can help someone else in their dream, their vision, their purpose. And then a lot of times it really connects together. The more that you give, the more you see that, hey, really, this is another part of who you are as a business person. So that really inspired me, is the component of entrepreneurship. There should be a space that you give back. And a lot of times you find your passion, you find other areas in your life that mean things through your giving component. So I definitely love the vision. And I knew it was that missing puzzle piece. It was that missing puzzle piece. And again, we don't all have to do the work. So it was very, very exciting that I didn't have to create this and start, from
Right.
scratch with
Right.
another program, that there was someone. And that's the beauty of collaboration. If we really understood that true meanings, that we don't have to do everything, that there's other people that have passion points that sometimes connect to our passion points, and then make a bigger picture of a reality for the good of all. And in this space, it's servicing, in this particular initiative, the Twinsburg area.
Mhm.
I think most cities need more people helping the community. I think we really do, not just Twinsburg, but all across our area, all across the country. So I think that's great that what you're doing. I don't think the high school students would have got connected, to people in generations so much opposite without the two of you trying to bring them together. So, Ariana, how do you see this program impacting Twinsburg and that community in the long term?
Sure. I think there's numerous ways. First, when you think of the impact and you think of who's being impacted, we have the students themselves that are being impacted by this program. Just watching them and even their growth as they've worked through the last couple months, and getting into some of, just getting into this space with the older adults. Initially, I visited their classroom, And when we started talking about this program and this project that they were going to be involved with, you can kind of see the wheels in their heads going, and some looks of questions or hesitation, and just an uncertainty. And as they started, very shortly after they met the seniors they were going to be working with, it was just like they just blossomed into that opportunity and that experience. And they were serving as mentors in that role, so that the students are technology mentors on the platform. And so the seniors really see them as somebody who they are excited to talk to, that knows so much because they understand this computer and what they're doing, and they're just so happy to talk to them. And the students then really start to see themselves differently, because now they're outside of the classroom and they're in the community, and they can see that there's somebody there who's looking at them and getting joy out of what they're doing. So it definitely impacts the students and the seniors, but I think it even goes beyond that into the community. So I know that the teacher who's running this program in Twinsburg has been contacted by parents, letting her know how positively their children have been impacted, and how much they're really enjoying this experience, and how it's really a unique experience, that's different than a lot of what they have experienced so far with other parts of the curriculum, in their high school journey so far. Um, it's also impacting, even beyond that. So families of residents who are going to receive a book that is documenting the life stories, that's their own family history, and they've had, haven't had to do anything. Their family is now being gifted these stories that otherwise they would have never had. Um, and then I think it continues to ripple on. So, different people in the community are hearing about what's happening, even the school administrators and businesses that have some sort of connection with the school. And so it really draws so many different groups together, around something that's just really good for all involved.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think keeping those stories of family going for generations is pretty important. So do you have any examples of how bringing the students and the seniors together have benefited each individual side?
Sure. So I can tell you one story that happened in this most recent community that we're in. So in Twinsburg, so we are working in Canterbury Senior Living, and there's a resident there. Her name is Angela Johnson, and Angela was really engaging with her students. But when it came to her career, she was not able to remember different aspects of her career. And so, in talking to the director there, we learned that Angela Johnson, and some of you may recognize her name, is a very accomplished author in the children's and young adults literature space. So she is a Pulitzer Prize winning author for young adult literature, and she's a multiple time Coretta Scott King Award winning author, along with numerous other accolades. So finding this out, her teacher, the teacher who was working with the program, ended up ordering some of Angela's books for the students that are working with Angela. So they are actually reading her books as they are engaged in this project with her. So the last time they met, the students brought the books, and they were able to read some of the books with Angela and actually fill her in on some of the pieces of her career that she is not able to remember herself.
Yeah, honestly, that's amazing. And so lucky to find out that information, with the kids there. Tanisha, what role do you think businesses can play in shaping their local communities?
I definitely think when there's areas to be able to do just like we've done here is to sponsor, to help, to volunteer. one of the biggest things is that I seen the experience. It's not always about the sharing or the exchange of the currency or the money piece of it. It's the value as well. So at the last meeting, I had the opportunity to go and see what was happening. I mean, I knew in theory, that, oh, this is a great and wonderful idea, but I wanted to go and see like what was really happening. How was this experience? Because it's different when you tell someone about something and then when you actually become present. And so I didn't just write a check and say, okay, do what you do, but to, go in and check and see that. And I seen the excitement of the students getting off the bus. You would not be able to say the students and their junior, senior year is excited to pull up to a nursing or assisted living. And I mean, they got off the bus like they were doing something that was trendy, that it was a popular thing to do. They were in the hallway with these smiles and who is so and so, and is so and so still here today? Am I going to be with Miss Johnson, or the different people? So as a business person, sometimes we think that just writing the check is enough, but sometimes going into that and seeing and being a part of it, because my heart was touched in a whole nother way. I knew what it would look like, how great it would be, but to be there and see the interactions and see some of the seasoned individuals say comments like, "Oh, these children, they're really nice children. They're polite," and just to see that interaction, I am so happy. We're so happy, and I know I'm doing a little voice there because that's how it was. Grandmas. These are people's grandmothers and aunties, and to see and some of the gentlemen that were their grandfathers and uncles, and just to see their excitement for the students to come and to share their stories. That is the part of it that it doesn't replace being able to financially support, but it also brings an added commitment and a value to you when you're there and you see what your resources or what your funds are going to, and just to see the human part of these wonderful connections, and to see, like you said before, Joe, two generations that may have never crossed, but also two generations that would not be excited to cross each other paths in terms of, spending that time. So it's definitely a rewarding experience for business owners in a way to support, and then also in a way to experience.
Yeah. The excitement from both sides is, I mean, I can see how that would be rewarding, just to see, both sides saying, let's get together. You just listened to part one of a two-part Mastering the Numbers podcast. Tune in next week for part two.